All right, welcome to Talking Investing. I'm Tom, and as always, this is not financial advice. Today, I have an exciting video for you. This is one of my favorite videos of the month. We're going to count down the top 10 Bitcoin mining companies, and we're going to do that a lot of different ways. If you're new to the channel, we talk about Bitcoin and the Bitcoin miners all the time on this channel, so if that is content that you're interested in, please remember to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Also, if everybody could please smash the like button, it helps get this video out to more people. I try to post 2 or 3 videos a day, and we do a live stream every Friday, so that is going to remain the same, but what I wanted to do is try to bring some additional value. If you enjoy the channel on the content and you want some deeper dives, you can also join the channel. So you'll see a join button. I'm doing analysis on smaller Bitcoin miners. I'm doing other analysis, group analysis, and we're also doing a live stream once a week. So I'm pumping out some extra videos and a live stream. If you're interested in being a member, feel free to join and support the channel. I would appreciate it. So it does help the channel out a lot. Right now, let's get into the top 10. So there's something a little special about this list this month. As we go through and look at the list, I believe that the 10 miners on this list right now in August, these will be the 10 miners that are on this list for the rest of the year. There's been 7 standout Bitcoin miners, but we do have 3 more that I think have cut themselves away from the rest of the group. So I believe that this top 10 is the top 10. Now, however, I believe the deck will shuffle a little bit. Just because a miner is in 8th place right now doesn't mean they're going to finish in 8th place. So there will be movement on this list between now and the end of the year. And I expect actually a couple of very big movers. However, I don't expect any new miners to come onto the top 10 list. So before we get to the list, I will just tell you, these are the miners that I believe will not get there this year. Some of them possibly next year could take a run at the top 10. But I believe that Cypher, Wolf, Bit Digital, Mawson, Stronghold, DigiHost, DMG, and any, I do not believe any of them by December 31st will have had enough momentum to get into the top 10. So that's the list. If you disagree, drop me a comment below. If there's one of those miners that you think by December 31st, they're going to be up and running and have their act together and break this top 10, let me know, because I think this is the top 10. Okay, so let's look at the chart. The first way we're going to look at this is the number of Bitcoin mined in the month of August. I'm going to start at the top. Core Scientific's been number 1 every single month all year. They will remain number 1 every single month for the rest of the year. They scaled up at a pace that was just much faster. They're still far more than double the second place miner. So Core Scientific's number 1 at 1,334 Bitcoin mined, a gigantic drop to number 2. However, this is a company that's been moving up the list all year. Bitfarms is now in 2nd place overall. So they started the year bouncing around between 5th and 6th and 7th. They've moved their way up to 2nd. This is the 2nd month in a row that they're in 2nd place. So they mined 534 Bitcoin. When we get to the efficiency, you'll see they're very efficient miners. In 3rd place is Hive, and now it's important to remember these are Bitcoin equivalent for Hive because Hive has mined a lot of Ethereum. About 30 or 35% of their business was mining Ethereum. So it's going to be interesting to see where Hive goes next month because they are number 3 right now, but that is in large part due to the Ethereum that they mine. They've been enhancing their Bitcoin mining all year long, and they have plans to continue to do so. However, I'm not sure they can maintain this number 3 position. In fact, I would expect them to drop on this list. So you can see from 3 to 4, there's a little bit of a drop off. We went from the 500s down to just under 400. So that was 395. HUT was 375 in 5th. RIOT was 374 in 6th. RIOT is one I do expect to be a top 3 miner by the end of the year. They participated in a lot of energy curtailment programs, and they did get paid a lot of money to do that. So this chart is a little misleading having RIOT in 6th. They are more likely to be 2nd or 3rd by the end of the year. Then we've got Gree. Gree has made huge progress this year. So Gree wasn't even in the top 10 at all at the beginning of the year. And they are now number 7. They mined over 300 Bitcoin, 301 Bitcoin. Iris Energy is the other one that's made massive progress. They've actually, as a percentage, increased their exahash more than any other Bitcoin miner. So they also mined 301 Bitcoin as a matter of coincidence. So number 7 and 8 is really tied for 7th at 301 Bitcoin. And then Argo Blockchain mined 235 Bitcoin. So they've been making some progress. And Marathon Digital is in 10th place right now on this list at 184, and they are another one that is a little bit misleading. I would expect them to make a very serious run at 2nd place by the end of this year. So they're sitting in 10th, but they really have their sights set on 2nd. And really next year, they have their sights set on 1st. This is Bitcoin mined year to date. So again, you're going to see a gigantic discrepancy. Core Scientific is in first by a mile. I don't see anybody catching them. So the rest of this is really a fight for second place. And you'll see right now Hive, and again with Hive, it's Bitcoin equivalent because a lot of that was Ethereum. So Hive's in second place. I don't think they're going to be able to hold on to that just based on the merge and their lack of ability to mine Ethereum. Bitfarms has been coming on very, very strong. They've closed the gap, and I would expect Bitfarms to pass Hive in monthly production for the rest of the year. They are on a month-to-month basis. In June and July, they were in second place. So Riot Blockchain's in third place, but again, they participated in massive energy curtailments and made, excess of $10 million in compensation to curtail their Bitcoin mining. So I would expect their number to go up greatly. CleanSpark's in fifth, way up the list at 2,642. HUT at 2,593. So CleanSpark and HUT are very close. And then we've got Marathon at 2,222. So again, they're gearing up big time. I would expect them to move way up the list. Gree at 1,771. Argo Blockchain at 1,174. So you can see there's a big drop off from 8th to 9th, and then Iris Energy at 10th with 1,094. So Argo and Iris, I suspect, will finish in 9th and 10th, but we will see. So this is on a year-to-date basis. Okay, this is exahash. So I'm going to look at each company's exahash as of August 31st. So you'll see, again, Core is just operating at a different capacity. So they're at 12.7 exahash. Riot over the summer did a lot of regrouping, but they've got themselves back up to 4.8 exahash. Hive at 3.9. I don't know if that's going to go up or down based on what happened with Ethereum. Bitfarms is at 3.9, CleanSpark's at 3.4, Marathon's at 3.2. They very well could be in second place by the end of the year. HUT with 3.0 exahash, Argo Blockchain at 2.5, Gree at 2.4, and Iris Energy at 2.2. So again, this is the same 10 Bitcoin miners on every single one of these lists, and I believe at December 31st, it will still be these 10 Bitcoin miners. They will just be shuffled up in a different order. Okay, so this is efficiency. This is just for the month of August. So essentially, this is a simple calculation I do. How many exahash are running and how many Bitcoin did they mine? So this is the number of Bitcoin mined per exahash. And you can see there's a bunch here that are very close. So according to my calculations, Bitfarm and Iris Energy were at 137, tied for first. And then Hive was slightly behind them at 132. Anything over 125 for me is a company that's operating the way they should be. Obviously, you'd rather be at 137 than 125. But you'll see there's some companies here at the bottom that are not yet doing what they need to do at all. Core Scientific continues to disappoint in my opinion. I am wondering if this is going to change because with that gigantic amount of exahash, the amount of Bitcoin that they're mining hasn't gone up that much. And that is because their efficiency is sitting at around 105. So there's a very big difference between 105 and 137. So we'll see if they're able to increase that. Argo Blockchain at 94. Riot is at 78, but that is misleading again because they took place in a lot of curtailments and got $10 million plus in compensation in other ways. So I do expect Riot's number to go way up. They were not at 125 though, even prior to all that. So this is a company that was more at 110. So I'd like to see them get above that, up into the 120s. And Marathon, obviously, their number still is not meaningful at all. They're going through a massive transition period. So there is a top 6 here that I think is very strong and very close, particularly these top 4. Okay, this is a new chart that I've never shown before, so I just want to take a look at this. This is Bitcoin mined in August. That's the blue line, so we have already looked at that. And this is then Bitcoin sold in August. So this is ranked from 1 to 10 on how many Bitcoin each company sold, and it compares it to the amount that they mined in the month. And this gives us some indication. The first thing you'll notice, there's been a monumental switch. 6 months or a year ago, all of these companies were trying to hodl 100% or as close to that as possible of their Bitcoin. There's been a massive shift in philosophy. You'll see 8 out of these 10 companies sold a significant amount of Bitcoin. We still do have 2 that held 100%. Hut 8 has a 100% hodl strategy. They have some other sources of income, and I believe they very strongly plan to maintain until it's at a much more palatable price. I wouldn't expect them to sell Bitcoin anytime in the near future. Marathon has held to date, so we'll see if they continue that. I don't think they're as adamant about that. They've both had a strategy of selling all their Bitcoin as they mine it. So essentially, they're treating this like any other business. If you were mining gold or selling hats, you know, you would make them and sell them. So that's what they're doing. Riot has been trying to do a hybrid. This month, it was very close. They sold 350 and they mined 374. This 350 number, I think they're going to hang out somewhere around that on a monthly basis. They've been between 250 and 350 sold per month for many, many months now. Their production is a little bit down, but I do believe if they get this number up to 500 or 600 or 700, they're still probably only going to sell about 350 of them. That's what I think. We'll see what happens. Hive mined 519 and only sold 352. So you'll see with the rest of these, they're pretty close. But each one of these companies is selling. Hive sold 352. CleanSpark sold 388. That was almost the same as the amount they mined. Bitfarms sold 427. That's just about 100 less than they mined. Argo Blockchain actually sold about 200 more than they mined in the month of August. And Core Scientific, although their numbers are so much bigger than everybody else's, so from a production standpoint, 1,334. But the thing is, they sold 1,130. So from a hodling position, they're really not making any progress versus the group. So I'm going to go to that next. And that's the last thing we'll take a look at. Let's just take a look at what everybody's hodl position is as of August 31st. Okay, so the first thing that'll jump out is you're going to see some zeros. And you may see more of that in the future. So like we talked about, Iris Energy and Gree, they sell their Bitcoin as they mine it. CleanSpark was really the first one to jump on that bandwagon. They've been selling their Bitcoin as they mine it as well. BitDigital is actually on the hodl list. So this is the one company that jumped into a top 10 that is not in any of the other top 10 lists. BitDigital has hodled 919 Bitcoin, and they have been able to increase that number on a month-over-month basis. You'll see it's still a very low number, but there's not a lot of companies left that are hodling Bitcoin. Argo Blockchain at 1,000, we saw that they sold more than they mined. Core Scientific, so whereas Core Scientific was in first place by a mile in every single category that we've looked at, you'll see they're in a very, very distant 6th place with 1,409 Bitcoin on their balance sheet. They've actually sold 10 or 15,000 Bitcoin this year. So Bitfarms is just starting to build back up again. They had more than this. They were forced to sell a bunch, and so now they're doing a split between holding and selling. Hive Blockchain's been holding their Bitcoin all year and selling their Ethereum. We'll see what they do going forward, but they have a decent amount. And then we have a big jump. Riot Blockchain does have 6,720 Bitcoin. Now, again, they're going to do, I think they're going to shoot for a 50-50 split. So this number should keep going up. But I do think this top 3 is locked in. So you'll see at number 2 is Hut 8. They have 8,111. These are all self-mined, so they have the most self-mined Bitcoin on their balance sheet because Marathon, which is in first place, did buy almost 5,000 of these Bitcoin. Marathon has 10,311. That is the most out of anybody. Again, about 5,000 of those, a little bit less, were self-mined, but they are in first. So again, on this list, I expect these 3 to continue to grow. Most of the rest of the Bitcoin mining companies are not as interested in hodling Bitcoin right now. They're just trying to get through this downturn in Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. So they're using their Bitcoin to fund operations. And I don't disagree with that. I think that makes a lot of sense. If you're in a position to hold on to some, that's great because you certainly don't want to sell at these lows. But most of these companies, in order to get where they're going, it's what they need to do right now. Okay, so I'm going to leave it at that. That's what I got for you on the Bitcoin miners for the month of August. Again, I know there's more ways to look at this, and we will do that in other videos. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.